Perfect. Okay. I'm also a member of ACYPAA, which is the All California Young People and Alcoholics Anonymous. And ACYPAA 2020 is going to be held in Sacramento, California. So that is where I'm from. And I have the honor and privilege of serving as the registration chair for that conference. I was thinking about it, and I've attended this meeting a little bit, but I think the last, or I don't know, I think that the last time that or definitely the first time, probably, maybe, that I spoke at this meeting would have been when we were hosting WACYPAA, which is the Western Area Conference of Young People in Alcoholics Anonymous, a couple years ago now. Super crazy to think of, like, so much has changed since then. I'm sitting in my like childhood room chairing right now, which is really weird. But I'll get to that, like all of that later. So my sobriety date is August 9th, 2015. So last month I celebrated 4 years of sobriety. I got sober when I was 23. And this is my first time trying to get sober, like really trying and like actually wanting to. I have a sponsor and I sponsor other people in the program, and I'm of service to Alcoholics Anonymous and just try to say yes, to the program as often as I'm able to, or when my calendar doesn't conflict with something else. I didn't start drinking until I was 18, which I know is pretty late for some of us. But before then, I had a really clear idea of what I thought alcoholism looked like because of other people in my life, specifically my sister. She got sober. She's 2 years older than me, got sober when she was 18. And so she stopped drinking before I even started. And I just remember thinking, with the thoughts that I had about alcohol, neither of my parents really drank. And I just remember them like thinking and telling me that like alcohol's bad, drugs are bad, we don't drink, people who do that are bad, and having that idea really instilled in me. And so when it came to seeing my sister in alcohol, I saw a lot of chaos, and I saw a lot of wreckage, and I saw a lot of inappropriate behavior and a lot of lying and a lot of like all the things that come along with it. And I didn't want to be any of those things. And I also recall that she would black out a lot. And for somebody like me that wants to be in control all the time because I'm so scared all the time. I've heard it said that my first drug of choice was your opinion of me. I want to control and enjoy your opinion of me. And how do I control and enjoy your opinion of me if I'm not in control all the time, And if I'm blacking out, then I'm not in control. And why would I ever want that? Like, I really, really vividly remember that whenever people, until I did, obviously, but whenever people would bring up alcohol to me or like, do you want to drink or like this or that, like that would be my thought, was like, I don't want to get out of control. Like that was the most terrifying thing to me until it wasn't, right? And so, like I said, until I was 18, I was really good being your dedicated driver and like cleaning up your vomit and like all these, like literally like whatever it was, I was fine with that because like I needed you to need me and like needed you to like want me around, whatever that looked like. And so when I was 18, my friends threw me a birthday party, and I had my first drink. I had a Mike's Hard Lemonade and 2 shots of something, I recall, and I got really sick. And I projectile vomited bright yellow in this guy's garage. And then I fell asleep in a closet. It was a big closet, but it was still a closet. And the next day, I actually, in this home that I'm in right now, was my mom's house. And I remember crying on the phone to my boyfriend at the time, like begging him, like, and just like, oh my God, like I feel so terrible. Like, please never let me do that again, which is crazy because thinking that somebody else has power over my drinking is insane. Not realizing that that's a problem is insane. Continuing to drink out of when every single time looked exactly like that, like, is insane, But I did. There was always another time. And I meant it at the time with everything in me that I didn't want to drink again and I didn't want to feel that way again. But I did again, and my friends would joke that I was allergic to alcohol, which is funny today because I know what that looks like because of our book. And I'll talk about that in a second. But But really for me, it didn't matter like how much I drank or in what order or with what substance or light or dark or like all these things that I'm trying to like concoct like I'm some like crazy scientist or whatever. Like for me, I always get sick. I always throw up. And it's just not a good time had by me. But it turns into what I have to do, you know, to be able to cope and to be able to live the way I'm living and do the things I'm doing. Like I can't do those things sober. I can't live life sober. I can't do that. And today I know that like I do have an allergy to alcohol, and like what that looks like is when I put alcohol in any form in me, like I break out in craving, and I can't stop, and it's a physical reaction that I have to alcohol that in like amounts does not affect other people in that same way. Other people can take it or leave it. When I take a drink, I don't know when I'm going to stop. And then the crazy part is when I am stopped and when alcohol is no longer in me and in control of me, I have a mental obsession, which makes me think about drinking. How can I how can I screw you over to be able to drink? How can I like all these things? Like I can't stop thinking about it. And so stone cold sober, I pick up another drink like every single time I do that, not because of that craving, you know, not because of the physical response I have to alcohol, but the problem of my alcoholism is centered in my mind. And then I have the spiritual malady that our book talks about, you know, and it's just for me, like what that looks like is I'm afraid. Our book on page 52 talks about the bedevilment. So things that trouble us a lot, like we're unable to, not great at making personal relationships, fear, full of fear, prey to misery and depression, like can't make a living. I think I already said that one. Like I am all of those things. And I need my solution, and my solution is alcohol. And so things continue, you know, without any frequency at first is always the interesting thing to me. Like maybe I didn't drink again for another 6 months, I don't know, 9 months, whatever. But I drink again, you know, and that's what I do. And then finally, I had graduated graduated high school, went off to school on the East Coast. That didn't work out. I ended up coming back here, falling in with old people, meeting a guy, because for me, there's always a guy. And I start to do the things that he's doing, which are harder things. And my consequences get really, really, really bad, really, really fast. My life falls very, very quickly to the point where I'm convincing myself it's fine because of XYZ thing, but it's not fine, you know, and I'm telling myself it's fine because I have a car, but my car is like banged up on all four corners. I am never driving sober. I'm running over curbs. I'm crashing into like other parked cars, like all of these things, like incredibly dangerous activity, you know, and I'm telling myself it's fine because like I'm still healthy, you know, but I'm overdosing and I'm landing in hospitals and people are noticing that something is wrong with me. But I tell myself it's fine because I have a job, but that job is like less than part-time. My bosses are asking me what's going on. Like you're not sober at work. And I just can't not lie. Like I'm constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself and with others. And I remember my mom too, you know, my relationships with my friends and my family and my parents just got so bad. And my mom would tell me like that she knew that I wasn't sober and that she wasn't going to, you know, support me anymore or anything like that. And I just couldn't even face her to lie to her. I would just like stare at her and not confirm or not deny, you know, just like I couldn't say anything. I would just like stare at her. And I ran through people's lives, you know. My dad would later come to tell me after I got sober, about a year after I got sober, that I had my location shared with him on my phone when I was drinking, and he used to drive around like looking for me, like his 20-something-year-old daughter. He would drive around trying to find whatever seedy hotel or whatever I was doing, just trying to find me, you know. And my sister, who at the time would have had several years sober, right after I got sober, right before, like she had to go into an intensive outpatient program because of the like physical symptoms that she was having from the stress that I was putting our family through. And I don't know, you know, I just couldn't see it. And even if I could see it, I didn't care. Like I would not have cared about those things. All I cared about is doing what I needed to do to be able to, you know, stay alive. And my life just turned into me and this guy that I was with that I hated, and the four corners, you know, the four walls to this room. And that was it. And my plan for life was that he was going to die because he had it worse than me. And then I would deal with getting sober, but I never wanted to. And I never thought that it was going to be possible for me. So it's really interesting when I get to the what happened, because it wasn't another car crash. It wasn't another consequence. It wasn't anything like, and this is how I know for me that there's a higher power in my life, because nothing was different, but everything was different. And there was no more power or strength or pulling myself up from my bootstraps or whatever the heck. Like there was no more of that in me the day that I was drunk to the day that I wasn't, but I was able to get some physical space away from that super abusive relationship that I was in, and detox on a friend's couch. And my mom told me that I could come back and live with her if I started doing an outpatient program and went to meetings. And at the time I was 2 weeks sober, and I told her, I don't think I need that. I'm 2 weeks sober, and I had never put together 2 weeks in my entire life, like ever. And so I really meant that. And so I didn't have the traditional gift of desperation that people talk about when they come in, because I didn't think that I needed this. I really didn't. I thought that I was going to be fine on my own, but I was desperate to not be homeless. And so I came and took that first suggestion. And I started going to meetings a little bit and just took your suggestions. I was going to say as best as I could, but that would be I took them enough to get to be here today. I don't know. That's really all that it looks like. And I did some of them like super half-assed, I had a meeting card, and sometimes I would sign it myself because I didn't want to go to the meetings, and I was more interested in hanging out with my boyfriend at the time, new boyfriend, because there's always a dude. And, you told me to get a sponsor and to call her. So I asked someone to be my sponsor. She said, call me. And so I didn't call her. I texted her, but it was enough, I guess. And she told me to read. And so I read most of the time, and she told me to write things. And so I wrote things, and I took the steps with this woman. And as a result of taking those steps, I've had a spiritual experience. The book talks about the spiritual experience in a lot of different ways. My favorite one is a psychic change. And what that means to me, and the book says, is that as a result of taking these steps, I can see things and do things in a way that unaided, like without a higher power and of my own will, I was not previously able to do. So my perception has changed. And I really, really, really needed that. I didn't see any kind of hope. Hope's not my favorite word, but like would never caught me using that word before. I didn't see any kind of solution, any kind of possibility. And when I finished the 12th step, I didn't have some kind of burning bush experience. And I remember asking my sponsor, like, God didn't knock on my door. I think I did it wrong. And she probably just laughed and said, like, keep coming back or something like that. But man, like I am changed, like forever changed as a result of this program. And I still am all of those bedevilments, because I am those things, drunk or sober, but I have a solution now, and I know what to do, and I know how to get in service. And I'm a little bit less selfish than I was before. And I think about other people sometimes, not just me, like all of the time. And you guys have shown me how to get through, like, things don't get better for me. I'm glad nobody told me when I got here that things were going to get better. I just needed things to get different, and I'm fortunate that I was able to get a lot of physical things back quickly. A car, and I'm a job, and I'm fully self-supporting, and I pay for my everything. Like that's crazy. Nothing that I would have ever been able to do before. But things are hard. Things get hard too. When I had 2 years, my mom was diagnosed with brain cancer, and she died 9 months later. And so this last June was the 1-year anniversary of her death. And I talk about that because, in case somebody needs to relate, of course, but also because like things don't get better. Like life still happens. I don't get everything that I want, and I'm still able to stay sober through those things. And you guys show me how to walk through those things. God, I love this program so much. There's somebody in this group on this call right now that along with a lot of other people. Like, you guys just show up, and you drove me to, you know, doctor's appointments in San Francisco when I had to go there, and like brought us food when we were in this very home that I'm in right now, you know, waiting while my mom was on hospice. And when she passed away at 3 a.m., like, you guys were there, literally there, and like showed up and brought me to home group that same night, and like told me what to do, and like brought me a toothbrush and told me it was time to shower, like when I hadn't showered in like who knows how long. And I never have to do anything alone in this program, and I never have to drink even if I want to. And that blows me away too. I thought when I got here, the name of the game was do the right things and I won't want to drink. And if I wanted to drink, then I was screwed, because if I wanted to, I was going to, you know. But that really, what I've been shown is that even if I want to, I don't have to drink. And there's always something that I can do. I can pick up the phone. I can be of service. I can, you know, read. I can pray, like whatever it is, like even if I want to. Yeah, man. I got the gift of one of the last, so after running crazy through my parents' life and my mom's life especially, you know, one of the last things she told me before she wasn't able to speak anymore was that she knew that she didn't have to worry about me anymore. Like, damn. Like, obviously I wish my mom was still alive, and it really, really hurts that she's not, but I don't know that I could ask for anything more than that, you know. Actually getting to have that conversation with her. And even that conversation, I remember you guys again told me, like, you know, she's on hospice now, and, you know, this is what's going on, and you need to, like, if there's anything left to say or anything, you need to, like, go say it. And I was terrified, and I didn't want to do that. And you guys told me that I had to, first of all. And you guys showed me how to do that, you know. And I got to have my own experience, which is something that I did not want when I got here. I wanted to tell you what was wrong. I wanted you guys to tell me exactly what to do, so then the consequences and outcome were your fault and not my fault, and I didn't have to take any kind of responsibility for anything. But you guys don't do that, and nobody tells me. I mean, like, when I'm asking, like, you guys don't tell me what to do, in the sense of, like, if you have experience, you'll share your experience, and go tell me to, like, have my own experience. And that's wild. Sorry, I got distracted. My sister and my nephew is crying in the other room, so I'll be done in a second here. Man, the things that this program has given me are that baby in the other room, my sister, you know, my nephew, being able to be in the same home, welcome in this home. I have a key to this home that my sister lives in now. I'm trusted with things. Like, I have friends that I can't even, like, put into words, you know, what those relationships look like to me. You know, I am a worker among workers in my job. Like, I get to go to work and be of service to other people, and, like, see it in that way. And I get to be of service to Alcoholics Anonymous, because I don't know what the perfect combination is of things that are going to get me to stay. I don't know if it's, I have to call a sponsor, and then a sponsee, and then a meeting, and then, you know, go secretary this, and then pray an inventory and do a 10-step and 11-step. And I don't know if it's like, do I only do 3 out of the 6 things? Do I get to come back tomorrow? Like, I don't know. And I have, as well as I'm sure all of us have, seen people who don't do those things, and then they don't get to stay. And that terrifies me. So I hope that I continue to be willing to do everything to the best of my ability, so that I can continue to keep my seat here and continue to stay willing. Because that gift of desperation for me, I have that now, and it's really only come as a result of action. You know, I didn't just have it. And I didn't have it because I think I needed this program. It was a result of doing the work and seeing the results in my life, and knowing that there's plenty of times over these past 2 years, especially, you know, when my mom was sick and my mom passed, that I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to do the work, but I did it anyway, and I still got the result. So that's my takeaway for anybody. You don't have to think that this program is going to work. You don't have to want it to work. You don't have to believe that it's going to work. All that you need to do is do the work, and take these steps. And as a result of these steps, you will have a spiritual experience, a psychic change. So if you're anything like me, like, that was desperately needed. Anything was better than the way that I was before. So I think that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Emily, for sharing. And
Thank you,
Jenny.
Emily.
Emily.
All right. Thank you for sharing. We have a brief announcement from about the seventh tradition. The Fifth Dimension Young People's Group has expenses such as ASL interpretation, unlimited Zoom access